Everything clear right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are going to talk about a couple of political topics as I have done previously. So, I see that my live stream has started correctly on both Twitch and YouTube. So, that's good. Usually, it takes a couple of seconds before everything goes smoothly, and I am truly live everywhere. But yes, so let me pull up my list of topics. Today, I'm going to be talking about some of the topics that I really wanted to cover last week, but I was still sick and I still have a little scratchy thing in my throat. So, my voice is still not there, and I'll still have to mute myself sometimes if I have to cough. But we're going to be talking about the transgender law that I want to know if it is going to be accepted here in the Netherlands. I also want to talk about another law in Texas, which is about censoring social media, which is or like the decensoring of social media, pretty much, which is pretty scary, and I want to take a look at that. Also, this is like really the latest news. But the explosion on the Crimean bridge, I think it's called, and I want to take a look at if the end of the war is in sight right now, as well as how Russia will respond to this. And then I'll probably also have time for some updates on Iran, as well as Roe v. Wade with the abortion banning in the US. So, yes, I'm already a little bit out of breath because of all of that. I had to teach. Oh yes, I have my chats here up on the screen. So I already had to teach all week. Well, not all week. I have a part-time teaching job where I teach Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and this week on Friday was actually a study day. So the kids were off, and the teachers had workshops to follow, which was really interesting. The deck that I'll be using in today's readings is my Wake Me Up Tarot. I don't think I've shuffled in reversals yet, so I am going to push aside the microphone a little bit so that I have some time to shuffle in some reversals as well. I hope that doesn't make too much noise. I always really like the sound that shuffling makes. I love to shuffle my cards. And I'm just going to wait till a couple of more people join in potentially so that we can really get this. This party started, so to speak. So, yeah, if you are here and you have another topic that you would like me to do a reading on, definitely let me know in chat. Because all of these topics that I have written down are just of me following the news throughout the week. But of course, I live in the Netherlands. I also have been sick the first part of the week. I had work the second part of the week, so I might be a little bit out of the loop for something. So if there's anything that you feel like I missed and you think I really should do a reading on, definitely let me know in chat. And then, of course, as I have done previously as well, I would love to do some viewer readings at the end too. So I have shuffled these cards. This is a gorgeous tarot deck, by the way. If you don't know this one, this is the Wake Me Up Tarot, and the images are really modern, really fun to look at. So, okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write down the timestamps. I think I'm just gonna write them down literally on a piece of paper because that is more that's quicker. Of course, I can't grab a piece of paper here. These are my papers. So I would also love to talk about a couple of decks that I got in. I got in one new deck this week, and then I'll probably get the next one next week. And I have another deck. This is the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle, which I am currently reading my way through the guidebook, which is super interesting. And the cards are stunning. Look at that gilding. It's so gorgeous. And then the backs are stunning as well. I won't be using that in this reading, like I said, because I am still doing my my deck study on it. So okay, actually that's Great. At exactly 5 minutes into the stream, I am going to start talking about the transgender law in the Netherlands. So, I don't think I've talked about this last week. I don't think so. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and it's a Dutch article, so I'm going to have to I'm going to have to translate it for you. Let me see if it's. Uh, yes, it is on the screen. Let's take a look. So, what the transgender law is about the ability of someone who is transgender to change their gender in their passport, and they want the law. I think the law says that they want it to become easier for people who are transgender to change their gender in their passport. And let's see, in the new law, it says that one of the most um, important changes is about the the gender on the birth certificate, and because what is on the birth certificate is what is put on the passport. Um, and right now, if you want to change your gender in your passport, you have to get a certificate from a professional, and the new law wants this to not be necessary anymore, the certificate, because it's often very hard to actually get a certificate or something like that from a professional. And the other important change is the age limit, because in the new law, they also want youth under the age of 16 to be able to change their gender, like officially in their passport, because they can't do that right now. And it does say in the law that if you are under 16, you have to visit the like a judge before. Sorry. And there are a lot of people who are against this. Yeah, a lot of people say that they are against this. So let's see what it says. It doesn't say really what the um, why they are struggling with it. So let me see if I can pull up another article. This one. Is it on the screen right now? No. Now it is. Okay. So the new one, what do they say? I had this all prepared like last last week, but now I've sort of forgotten what it was about. Um, let's see. Ta-da. uh, m- Yeah, no. But this is an asshole. This is an asshole political party leader who sees that it's total craziness that a child of 16 um can say that, oh, I am, and this is a very nuanced statement that he's putting out here, that a child of 16 without conversations with a doctor or a psychiatrist can say, oh, I am just right now, I am just no longer a boy, but I'm a girl. And everybody knows, or I mean, I think everybody should know that that's not really how this works. um, so yes, let's stop sharing these screens and let's just get into the reading. So what I wanted to know is, I really want to know if this law will be accepted, and then also what the challenges will be into getting this law passed, as well as the outcome of the if the law's passed. So let me just shuffle the cards again and take a look. Will this law be accepted? I have the Eight of Pentacles. I think that if this law is to be passed, then there have to be some changes made first. There really first need to be some work. And the interesting thing here on this card is we see someone crafting, in this case, a pentacle on a piece of leather or a piece of bag. And he has made bags before that all look slightly different, but they all have similarities with that they all are a bag and they all have the pentacle on it. So I'm just gonna take off this chat box off the screen for a while. So I think that the law really needs some work more before enough people will be able to vote for the law. So I think as the law is right now, I don't think it's going to be passed, which I think is a shame. But yeah, I think that the law needs, or I don't think the law needs some work, but people voting for the law think that the law needs some work before it gets passed. So, next question: what would be the challenges in getting this law passed? What will be the challenges? Interesting. The Page of Cups. I feel like because it's about children and people, like we see this very often when it comes to transgender laws and transgender rights and LGBTQ rights in general. The arguments is often like, well, what about the children? Be careful, for the children. And I think that that is an argument that is going to be made, that people think it's not good for children if this law is passed as it is right now, or as they want it to be passed. And that is what is the challenge, because people think um, that it's not good for children, or that children shouldn't have the autonomy over like deciding what their gender is. People think, or adults, many adults think that children aren't competent enough or don't understand the concept of gender like adults do. These are those are not things that I personally believe in, but that is what I think the challenge is going to be about with when it comes to passing this law. So let me take a look at what will be the outcome if this law is passed. What will be the outcome if this law is passed? Two of Cups in reverse. The Two of Cups is upright. To me, is the coming together of people in connections. And I think it's sad. It's sad, really, because I think that if the laws pass, it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of trans people, for a lot of trans youth. But there will also be people who are very much against just LGBT, or don't understand anything about LGBT or trans um, issues. They don't understand how it works. And that means that they're automatically against it. Not everybody, of course. Oh, sorry, I have to really cough. I'm back. So that is really sad. That I think that what is going to happen when this transgender law gets passed is that there are going to be people who will be so against it that it's going to be polarizing, like within families as well. People who are like kids, youth who are transgender, because they now have the ability to change their gender without like the help of a professional. That it could cause some conflict and some breaking of bonds, breaking of connections within families, which is really, really sad. And that is, I think that is the product of transphobia. And that's just, I think that's really sad. So yeah, that was the reading on the transgender law in the Netherlands. So what I think I'm gonna do, if nobody else has a question regarding this, then I'm gonna go to the next one, which is on the Greg Abbott law about um, social media censoring. So this one is wild, you guys. I'm running it down right now, the timestamps. So what is happening here? Oh, it's so funny. I have two pages to show you, and it's so funny. So well, it's both scary and funny. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you what is going on. So it's not just Texas. It is Texas and Florida. Uh, So, Texas and Florida have each passed new laws taking aim at social media companies and how they moderate content. If these laws take effect, platforms will be forbidden from prohibiting or deprioritizing certain kinds of content, creating the potential for a future Twitter landscape filled with hate, porn, terrorist recruitment, Holocaust denial, and really outlandish trolls. So, Sorry, I had to scratch my throat again. So here it says conservatives have long argued that the platforms discriminate against them by suspending or banning them for sharing political speech, while the platforms say they are only enforcing rules against hate speech or misinformation, like literally their terms of service. And that is what the law is about. So it says the Texas law HB 20 would give social media companies only minimal tools to influence what is on their sites, which I think is really wild because when you go onto a social media app, there are terms of services that you agree with so you can use it. And if you don't agree with it, then maybe you just shouldn't use it, you know? But that is what this is about. So the next one that I want to share is something that is just a little bit funny, where there is if you are like a regular on the internet, you probably have heard of Reddit, and there is a little subreddit that forces people to comment Greg Abbott is a little piss baby to protest Texas social media law. Um, so that's funny. That was just a subreddit that I came across that I thought was really funny over at the subreddit Political Humor, um, and that is a subreddit that is dedicated to discussing the absurdity of U.S. politics, and they decided to educate members about the bullshit law by blatantly breaking it. Um, so that's funny. They have to include the phrase "Greg Abbott is a little piss baby" in every comment that they publish on the subreddit. And if you don't, then you will be banned from the subreddit, which is literally blatantly against that law, which was that was the idea. That was the whole reason that they're doing it. So I'm gonna scratch my throat again, and I'm gonna get the cards ready for the reading on this. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this, or would you would like me to pull cards on? Hey guys, it's so hard like doing a live stream when you have to cough constantly. Like when I'm recording a video, it's fine because I can just edit it out, but I can't do that in a live stream. So I just have to mute myself or I'll kill your ears. Okay, so what I want to know about this, and definitely let me know if you have questions about this social media law that you would like me to answer. But first, I want to know if this law will pass, and then also what will passing this law mean for the future. So, will this law pass? I have the Three of Cups in reverse, and I have the Knight of Wands in reverse. I don't think that this is a law that is going to be implemented soon, or at least, because of I'm saying that because of the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands to me is about movement, about travel, about moving forward. Forward. So if this law will pass, how do I want to? Either it's not going to be really quickly, or there are just I don't know. No, because the next question is what will passing this law mean for the future? So I'm trying to not implement this card onto that question. So will this law pass? I feel like if it does, it's not going to be very long. I definitely wanna answer that question. Thank you so much, Trio of Witches, for asking your question. I definitely want to take a look at that. But then also, I have the Three of Cups. They do not have the support for this law. Like maybe even people who are Republicans don't even necessarily want this law to pass because they understand the dangers that are behind this law. Like, yes, they would be able to more talk about their own political opinions that are now maybe, I don't want to say silenced, but that are being deprioritized, I guess. But they also understand, I think many conservatives, many Republicans understand that it could be potentially really dangerous if this happens. So I don't know if this law will pass. However, what I see right now is that either the way it is now is it's not going to pass. So similarly to what I read for the law about the transgender in the Netherlands, that was not a correct sentence. I'm sorry. Um, but also they just don't have they don't have the community backing them up. They don't have the support backing them up for this. So let's take a look because my next question is the same as Trio of Witches question. What will passing this law mean for the future? So first, what if it does pass? What will be the outcome? So what will be the outcome if this law does pass? This deck is dramatic. This deck is dramatic. Death, like the internet, or at least these social media platforms, are gonna look really different. And that's sort of like the death card. It doesn't have to be scary necessarily. Um, like, but also, like, look at this. We see someone shedding their skin and looking like a completely different person. And I feel like that is what is gonna happen. People are gonna show their true colors now that they're not being censored. And I think that's really scary. People are no longer being censored when it comes to their hateful political thought, their hateful thoughts in general. And certain things are just not going to be censored anymore, and that is gonna look really scary. So I definitely want to pull another card for this question. But people are gonna show their true colors. Even people who may be seen as problematic already might be seen as or like they're gonna come out with even more opinions that they previously couldn't really come out with. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. So let's see what else. If it does pass, what will be the outcome? This deck is dramatic, you guys. I have the world card in reverse, like it's literally a giant step back. So in this card here, in the world card, we see someone like ending a journey, ending and starting a new cycle. So that's interesting. With the world card in reverse, when it comes to social media and things like this, I tend to see the world card as like the actual world. So all the people on the world, and it being in reverse. Again, I see polarization, even more polarization happening. This is a theme that I talk about a lot in these readings because it's something that comes up often, because that is just sort of the political landscape that we're dealing with, not just in the US, but where I live in the Netherlands, we see a lot of polarization happening as well. And it's kind of scary. But that is what's going to be happening if this law passes. We're going to see more polarization. We're going to see more disconnect from people with each other. We're going to, I do think maybe we're going to see less echo chambers, because now that on certain social media platforms, certain opinions are being censored. Hi, Lil Angel. Happy to have you here too. Because right now we see certain platforms banning, deprioritizing, censoring certain opinions. These people with these opinions go to platforms where they are allowed to have these opinions, and they form this little echo chamber. However, if those opinions are allowed on regular social media platforms, then there's going to be an opportunity, I guess, for people who oppose those beliefs to talk about that with them, and to um to talk about it with them and to go against it. So yes, they will probably make for more polarization, like I said, but it's also an opportunity to for these people to come out of their echo chambers and to hear differing opinions as well. So hopefully that could be like the good part of it. But overall, it is it's not really great. It's not really promising, is it? Okay. Um, yes, I also want to know, because I do think it's a bit of a different question. I just did a Trio of Witches, their question, and now I will talk about what will this passing this law mean for the future. So let's say in other countries or other states as well. What will passing this law, if this law passes, what will it mean for like places around Texas and around Florida? What will that happen? 10 of Wands. Ooh, interesting. So the 10 of Wands in reverse, the first thing that came to mind, again, taking a step back, I have the Five of Wands, which is about conflicts, but it's in reverse. And usually I feel like that is wait, what? Okay, and I have the Nine of Swords, which is anxiety. Um, of course, I already talked about this, and they literally wrote about it in the blog post. That there's gonna be like more trolls, and that those people might just those opinions having them openly like on certain platforms where people used to have a safe space, those safe spaces could disappear for them. So even though, like I said, a good thing is that people won't be really living in echo chambers anymore, on their own social media platforms. But the downside of that is that there are a lot of people who will feel unsafe with opinions like those, like on their social media platforms where they have created safe spaces. Um, and that is going to lead to a lot of anxiety for certain people. Um, Here, I'm not really sure what to make of these. The Ten of Wands in reverse, I usually see that as burdens coming off, like a release of burdens. Often I see it as that. And with the Five of Wands in reverse, I often see that as the release of conflicts. So that's really interesting that that is coming up, because those are not energies that I would have expected to come up. So I have to think about that for a little bit. I might also pull a clarifier card. Um, yes. Wait. I think with the Ten of Wands, I sometimes also think of delegation, so delegating certain tasks. And it's interesting because I talked about this with the Greg Abbott, also Greg Abbott, which is really interesting. Another Greg Abbott reading that I did, what was that about? About the elections in Texas. And he showed up as the Ten of Wands in reverse, I think, or just the Ten of Wands, where I felt like he was going to be less visible at the end of his campaign, because he's going to delegate a lot of his tasks. So, what I feel here, like either this represents Greg Abbott, um, being it in reverse could be that he's going to be like shining in a like bad light, so people are going to see him negatively if this law passes, both like his supporters but also as well as non-supporters. He's going to be in like a bad lighting, or like he's going to be seen in a bad way, which is interesting. So that is one way that it could be seen, but also delegating people higher up who previously hadn't been able to speak certain opinions because of the censoring of social media, if you want to call it that, because of their terms of service. Um, these higher up people are now going to be able to speak their hate from like high up, right? So again, it's scary. These people who have a lot of influence, they are now going to be able, or if this law passes, they are going to be able to spew their hate on a very large platform. And that is really scary. So that is what I sort of feel like that means. And I feel like that is going to incite conflict. I just feel like that is going to incite conflict. And like we already see sometimes influencers using their influence in a bad way, to, even if they don't do it on purpose, they can use their influence in a way where people like they incite violence, right? And not necessarily not necessarily on purpose, but that is what happens when you spew certain hate, when you say certain things online. Then it is possible to incite violence. Okay, so I think that is what I wanted to talk about for the censoring of social media. Definitely let me know if you have another question on this. If not, then I'm gonna keep on going with the next topic. I'm just gonna clean off my cards here. I'm really enjoying using this deck the Wake Me Up Tarot. I have talked about this deck before. I have an entire video on it, and I'm really happy with it. I feel like it does really great down to earth readings, which is sometimes what you need with heavier political topics like this. So I'm gonna scratch my throat again, and then we're gonna go on to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic, officially 30 minutes in, we are going to be talking about the explosion that happened literally last night for us, I think. Explosion on the strategic Crimean bridge. I don't even know if I am pronouncing it correctly. Um, but it's the bridge between Russia and, again, I don't know the English term of that area. Let me actually Google it. So in Dutch, it is the Krim. So let me see what it means in English. What is the Crimea? Okay, the Crimea, I guess. That's previously annexed, like previously taken over by Russia, and I'm pretty sure it's known that the Ukrainians blew that up. I'm pretty sure. And I have seen headlines, or I've seen reporters talking about how this explosion of the Crimean bridge is like signifies the end of the war in sight, and or that the end of the war is now in sight. And I just really want to know if that is true. I want to know, does this indeed signify the end of the war is in sight? And I also want to know how Russia is going to respond to this. If you have another question that you would love to know about this explosion, or just on the war in general, let me know in chat, and I'll pull cards on that as well. So let's first take a look at, what does the explosion mean for the war? What does the explosion mean for the war? Okay, so the first card that jumped out is a world card now upright, because when I have pulled a card in reverse, I then pull it back in the deck upright, because I feel like it has already done like its reversal meeting. So I feel like, yes, I do think that the end of the war is in sight. I don't think we're there yet. We're not here yet, but the world card to me indicates the end of something, a graduation, an ending of something. Of course, it means like the blowing up of the bridge is the end of, like, literally the end of the bridge, because it is now, destroyed. So it could literally be that is the ending that it's talking about here. Um, but I think that this means that we are absolutely good news. Yes, that we are looking at we're nearing the end of this war, which is really good news. So that's, I don't know, that is a little bit relieving, I guess. So I guess I have already answered the question: is the end of the war in sight? But I also want to know, how is Russia going to respond to this? How is Russia going to respond to this explosion? The Five of Wands, more fighting, more conflict. They won't take this loss. Like, they're not going to take this loss and just leave it at that. They are definitely going to respond. I want to know how, because with this one, we see physical fighting happening. So it could be physical fighting, more physical attempts. I don't know if they're gonna do like an eye for an eye. So they are gonna blow up another piece of, like, a bridge or a landmark or something strategic from Ukraine that is gonna hurt Ukraine a lot. So that could be the response of Russia. Let's take a look at what else can we see how Russia will respond to this. The Page of Cups. Why am I pulling all these cards that I've already pulled for all previous readings? So, wait. The Page of Cups to me here almost looks like a child getting something that they've always wanted to get. So, are they willing? Is Russia willing to give something to Ukraine that they have wanted? So I don't know if this indicates like a deal happening, or if this is going to be blackmail or of some kind, where they're like, okay, we won't do this, or we will stop the war. Like that is like the incentive, that is the gift. Like you can keep, like, I don't know, these parts of the country, but we will in return we will take this. So it's some sort of a deal, some sort of an offer that Russia is going to give, because they know that they are like they know that they are on the verge of losing this war, because of everything that is going on, because the Ukrainians have something to fight for and the Russian soldiers just really don't. You see that the morale within the Ukraine fighters is very different from the ones that we see with the Russians, especially like I think I talked about it last week with the mobilization of Russian soldiers. The morale is just different. The motivation, the motives are so different, and I think Russia is seeing that, like their government, the people who are behind the war, they are seeing that, so they might be wanting to give an offer to Ukraine. Um, in order to sort of stop the war. It's not out of the goodness of their heart. It's not. Let that be very clear. Um, but they might, like with this, like look at the card. They might be trying to package it in a way to make it look like they're the good guys. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's going to be something about the packaging of this deal, the packaging of this offer, that either is going to seem really alluring or makes them look a certain way, which I think is very interesting. So let me know if you have another question on the Ukraine war that you would like me to pull some cards on. This is not the first reading that I've done on the Ukraine war. I've talked about them in or talked about the war in a previous live stream as well. So let me know if you have another question about it, so I can pull more cards on it. Otherwise, I'll move on to another topic. Also, if there are other things, world news, like world news, political things that you would like me to do a reading on, let me know in chat, and I would be happy to do that. Because I do have a couple of topics written down that I want to take a look at, but I always want to know what you want to know so that I can help you know it through the cards. Okay. I'm gonna take my cards back into my deck. And if there is no other question, I'm trying to give you guys enough time, too early for you to think. Yeah. I have really been thinking about what time I want to go live, because I tend to have the same people in here for my live streams, which I really like. I really like seeing the same names popping up in chats, but I also understand that it's pretty early in the US, in Canada. Um, but also the replay will always be available afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about the timing of my streams and what is most convenient both for me as well as other people. But I have great lighting this way because it's the afternoon for me. It's like almost a quarter to 3 p.m. here, and I have great lighting. I have one little ring light here, which even without the ring light, it is still pretty bright in here, and that is just not the case for me in the evening. Then I'll get like a really glossy face and everything. Okay, so let's see. We just talked about the bridge and the war. And so right now we are going into the next topic, which is an update on Iran. I already did a way more in depth reading on what is going on in Iran, as well as how I thought the protests were gonna go and what impacts I think the protests are gonna have. That was comforting, a really comforting reading. I don't know, because I decided to use a deck that overall gives more comforting readings. However, I am now going to take a look. I want to see what is going on, like how is it going in Iran now. I want to know what have they achieved so far, And then what can we see happening about this in the upcoming week? So really trying to do more predictive readings here as well, because I just want to know if I can do them. If I next week go back to this part of the stream and see if the cards were right, or if I interpreted it correctly or incorrectly. But also, I just want to, because this is a subject that I think is really important, right? This is about just human rights, about women's rights, about religious freedom, and wearing a hijab if you want to, and not wearing a hijab if you don't want to. I just think that is really important to have that religious freedom. So I think the protests are. I think it's amazing that it's still going on, that we're still talking about it, and that they are still protesting, that they still show how important this is for them. So let's take a look. How is it going now in Iran? Like, how is it going in Iran? Ooh. Okay, I have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So definitely the government is not there yet, in order, like in terms of giving the protesters what they want. I don't think that the government is there yet. They're not ready to collaborate yet. And but the good thing is that neither are the protesters. The protesters aren't ready to collaborate and to give in to anything that the government wants. The protesters are still going strong. There's like, this is both a good and a bad thing, because the bad thing is that there's not going to be a compromise yet, because neither party wants to compromise, because both parties feel very strongly about their standpoints, about their opinions. They feel very strongly about it. So there's no way of collaborating yet. So that's interesting. Let me see if I can get another card of what is how is it going in Iran right now. I have the Fool card. Yes, this, I think this makes sense. It's about taking risks, and people like these people are taking such huge risks by being on the street, burning their hijabs, and that is so dangerous for them to be doing. But they do it because they truly believe in it, and often, especially here with the Fool card in reverse, I feel like it's about risks that are going right. So risks paying off. So that is definitely what I'm seeing here. If not within the government yet, like the risks that the people, the protesters are taking right now, even though they're not paying off within the government yet, you can see that they're paying off like throughout the world. Like we have Dutch politicians who are cutting off locks of their hair to stand with the protesters in Iran. And I think that's really, I think that's a beautiful thing. Like even, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing, to show that you are with protesters, or that you stand with these protesters, and that you think religious freedom is important. So we definitely see risks paying off for these Iranian women and people, and just everyone who's like the protesters. So next, I want to know, what have they achieved so far? What have they achieved so far, these protesters? What have they achieved so far? Wait, what? This is the Nine of Pentacles. This feels like this card literally means um wish, like not necessarily wishes coming true, but having worked really hard and having everything pay off. So the first thing that came to mind to me is that, like, first world countries, this definitely looks like first world country energy, and they have reached these people by showing them what is going on in Iran, because I feel like Iran has really fallen off the radar for a long time, as in the issues that are going on there. Like there, because of everything that is going on in the world, there seem to be issues everywhere. So there can't, like news wise, be a priority on every country and every issue in every country. And I feel like Iran has sort of fallen off the radar, and now it has come back on the radar, and issues that are happening within the country are highlighted again, and they have reached these first world countries, which I think is interesting. Another interpretation that I'm getting with this is that they are getting really far with their protests, and that they are getting really far with getting what they want. Whether that is because they have reached these richer countries, because they have reached these first world countries, maybe that is going to be part of why and how they are going to make changes and how they're going to achieve what they want to achieve. That's interesting. Ooh, I like that. I want to get another card, what they have achieved so far. What have they achieved so far? The King of Swords in reverse. They have made authority so angry. They have made authority so angry, because I see the King of Swords upright as an authority figure. I see the King of Swords overall as an authority figure. But when it is upright, I see it as a nice, genuine authority figure who might be a little bit stern, but they have good intentions. However, we have it upright. So there are government people, there are higher ups who are so fucking pissed right now, which makes sense. But it's sort of funny to see this, and especially when you put it together, like these governments, these higher up people, they are at one point they're gonna have to defend themselves against these richer countries who have a lot of power, a lot of influence, if they want to use it. Like if they decide to use their power and influence, they like the government higher ups have to defend themselves and their standpoints and their sanctions. They have to defend them towards these people of power. So it's pretty funny. Like they definitely have. I feel like the protesters have gotten so far already, which is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. So ooh, interesting. So the last thing that I want to look at when it comes to Iran is what can we see happening about this in the upcoming week? What can we see happening about in Iran the upcoming week? Okay. Okay, so even though I don't want to pull these cards that I just fell out, I like to put them back if I feel like maybe these are not the right cards. But it is interesting that the Justice card was one of the cards that popped out open. So let's see if that is a card that I'm going to pull again. But the Justice card, literally in this case, feels like getting more justice for these protesters. Whether that is actually getting what they want. I don't think they're going to get what they want this week yet, but we might see some justice happening, whether it is for the initial woman who lost her life. I don't remember her name, but I wasn't able to pronounce it correctly anyway. But the death of the 22-year, I think she was 22-year-old woman who passed, and that incited the entire protests. Maybe she's getting some justice finally. I don't know yet. So the first card that I'm pulling, what can we see happening about this in the upcoming week? We have the Three of Swords in reverse, and to me, the Three of Swords is a card of healing. So healing from old pains. So either I think there's going to be an opportunity for some healing to happen, whether that is again about the woman, like with the justice card that I pulled out earlier, getting some justice and healing, like being able to heal a little bit from that. I don't know what is going to happen exactly. I don't know if it's going to be out of the government or what it's going to be. Hi, 1am Frank, happy to have you here, talking about the situation in Iran right now. So I think that either it's going to be something from the government or maybe again from one of these richer countries that are going to be able to do some healing to I don't want to say incite some healing, that's not the right word, but there are going to be opportunities hopefully to do some healing. So let's see what else can we see happening about this in the upcoming week. Seven of Wands, interesting. So yes, I am reading the tarot of political situations. Absolutely, yes. And right now I'm talking about Iran and what can we see happening about this in the upcoming week. The Seven of Wands to me often is about an underdog, which is interesting because we see literal dogs here against a child here. And the child is defending their boundaries. And hmm, interesting. Like, again, I definitely feel like we're gonna see something different happening, whether it is um, some sort of reaction from the government or something like that, where protesters, or again, I already talked about this authority figure having to defend themselves towards the richer countries. Um, so there might be something with that, like someone having to defend their actions, whether it is the underdog having to defend their actions. So these are the protesters in this case. It could also be that the government of Iran is asked to defend their actions, their sanctions, the police, the policing, all of that. So there's something, someone has to sort of defend something in this week. Sometimes it can be really tough to be super specific. Sometimes I get super specific interpretations, and sometimes I don't. So let's see. Something else that we can see happening in the upcoming week. I want to pull the right cards. Okay, come on. I don't think another card is gonna come out, you guys. Yeah. So the last card that I'm pulling here is the Ten of Wands, which is overwhelm. I think for all parties involved, I think it's really overwhelming for all the protesters to keep going out there, even though they're not seeing the results that they wanted to see yet. But also the government is gonna be feeling very overwhelmed when it comes to either having to defend themselves for other countries, or just overall being overwhelmed with everything that is going on. And it is interesting to see. I hope we're going to be able to see who is going to like succumb under pressure. I think that's the right term. Like, who is going to be crushed under the pressure that they are feeling. So is it going to be the government? Is the government going to be feeling really pressured to like implement the changes that the protesters want, or are the protesters going to be crushed under the pressure of all this police violence, everything that they have to deal with when it comes to the police and the government? Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see. So I'm going to be putting my cards back. Let me know if you have any other questions about Iran that you would like me to take a look at in the tarot. So I'm just writing down my timestamps of everything so I can update the description, because I'm streaming both on Twitch and YouTube, and the replay is also available on both platforms. But I'm not really able to edit a description on Twitch, so the focus of the replay for me is on YouTube. So I only have one more topic that I wanted to take a look at. So let me know if you guys have any other topics that you would like me to take a look at. So right now we are going to take a look at Roe v. Wade. So earlier this year, as we probably all know, Roe v. Wade was overturned, where we saw all sorts of states in the US banning abortions. And we see a lot of scary headlines appearing all over the place. I have a headline here from Insider that says Missouri seeks to ban abortion for ectopic pregnancies. And then another one, Arizona judge backs abortion ban dating from 1864, from the BBC, which is all just really fucking scary, but also not surprising. I already did a video or a reading on Roe v. Wade when it was overturned, because I just felt really called to do a reading on that. And yeah, so I want to do another reading, sort of an update. I'll afterwards I'll link the video to the original reading that I did on Roe v. Wade in the description box. But I want to take a look. Yes. Ugh, that's the only that's the only yeah, response that I can think of as well. Let's take a look at what has happened since it was overturned. Then I also want to take a look at what can we see happening about this the upcoming month of October we're in right now. And then also what can we do as people to get back our rights? And if there's another question that you would like me to answer regarding abortions, then let me know. Um, or just anything else regarding world news, political, anything you would like me to do a reading on, let me know. So, what has happened since it overturned? So, in my previous reading, I usually get like reading amnesia, where I don't really recall a lot of readings that I've done, but this one really stuck with me, where I remember that I, in my previous reading, talked about that this was just the beginning. Like Roe v. Wade overturning was just the beginning, and that the conservatives were going to try and take more rights away, which is definitely something that we've seen happening. But let's take a look. What has happened since Roe v. Wade was overturned? Nine of Pentacles. I have the Six of Swords in reverse and the Temperance in reverse, which none of these are a surprise. So, Nine of Pentacles, like only rich people, like sort of benefit from this. Like, if you are poor, if you are a minority, you don't benefit from this abortion ban at all, because those are the groups that are affected the most. They are women, they are women who don't have a lot of money. Those are the ones um, who are like, for them it's almost impossible to get an abortion now if they need it, whether that is mentally need it, they physically need it, like medically need it. And because rich people or rich women will potentially always be able to get an abortion, because they can just afford to fly to a state where it is legal or to a country where it is legal. So we just see a lot of rich people benefiting from this and a lot of minorities suffering from this, which is really sad. Then we also have the Six of Swords. Like, this is in reverse. To me, this is about like going back in time, literally going back in time. The Six of Wands, or sorry, the Six of Swords is a card of transition, of moving forward, but it's in reverse. So people are not able to go to places to do things that they really want to, that they really need to. They are either being forced into certain transitions that they don't want to, like the transition into parenthood if you don't want to, which is really scary, really sad for both the parent and the child. Um, and it's just a giant step backwards, basically. And then also we have Temperance in reverse. So Temperance to me is a card of harmony, of balance, and it's in reverse because there's even more friction when it comes to this debate. There's even more disharmony, there's more imbalance when it comes to this. Again, polarization, it keeps coming back to polarization as well. And it's just really sad to see that that this has all been happening after, since Roe v. Wade was overturned. None of it is a surprise, none of it is surprising, but it is all still very sad. So what was the next question that I wanted to answer? Yeah, what can we see happen about this in the upcoming month? What can we see happen about this in the upcoming month? About abortions, banning, all that stuff. I don't even know if I can say these words on YouTube, but I am. Huh. I just pulled the Three of Cups upright. The Hanged Man in reverse. Let's take a look. And I also just got the Sun card and the Ace of Pentacles in reversed. So let's go over it. So the Three of Cups to me is about a community. It's you can see here a celebration. So there might be some things, and because I am pulling the cards from my own perspective and my own opinions on abortion, I think that this means that there are going to be some celebration when it comes to women's rights. And when it comes to hopefully potentially making abortions more accessible for some groups, for some people, there are going to be some wins on that side of the spectrum of the opinion, whether abortion should be allowed or not. I think that the group that wants abortions are to be legal, to be accessible, they are going to get some wins. Now, with the hanged man, that's interesting. This is my card of the calm before the storm. This is about getting a new perspective, about waiting, accepting. I think what we see here is people are just simply not accepting what is happening with rights being taken away. People are not accepting it, and people are still wanting to fight. Like, this is a topic that we're still talking about. Like, Roe v. Wade was overturned, I don't know, months ago, I think, at this point, and people are still angry. People are still not expecting it. And the calm after the storm, it's not going to be here. The storm is that these rights are being taken away, and people are not going to sit still, and there's not going to be a calm after the storm, because the storm is still the storm, and people still want to fight against it. Then I also, within the upcoming month, like I said, the Sun card and then the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. The Sun card is something good happening. So I already saw that with the win of the Three of Cups. And with the Ace of Pentacles, it's interesting. There's someone or something taking money back. That is sort of what I'm getting here. Like, this is a financial loss, getting money back. I don't know if this is a good thing. Like, if this financial loss is going to be on like our side of abortion supporters, or if this is going to be on the abortion banners side. So either one side is going to lose some money. However, because it is with the Sun card, I think that this is going to be like a good thing for like our side. So that is what I'm getting at. Ooh, that's really interesting. So I am seeing some comments here. Hi, Anika, happy to have you here. And then I see a question from Tarot Girl, which I definitely want to answer after I'm done doing the reading on Roe v. Wade. Then that will be the next question that I'm going to answer. So the last question that I wanted to take a look at for Roe v. Wade was what we can do as people to get our rights back. So what can we do to get our rights back? How can we like win this thing? How can we go about this so we can get our rights back? The Eight of Wands in reverse, which is interesting because you'd think that we would get it upright, which is about moving forward, like getting good news, spreading the message. But it's in reverse. Interesting. It's like, have we been getting the message out to the wrong people? And this could be like, what we need to do is get the message out to like other types of people. Like, who do we need to convince for this? I feel like right now, even though it's all like good intentions, there has been a lot of effort, a lot of communicating, a lot of messaging towards certain people, but maybe we need to put the messaging towards other people. That's interesting. I want to know what this is about. I want to get a clarifier card. What is this about? Like, who do we need to contact? The Eight of Cups, refusing to leave something behind. I think that's good. Refusing to leave something behind, which makes sense because we refuse to leave our rights behind, which I think makes sense, but doesn't really give an answer to the question that I'm asking. Eight of Wands in reverse often to me is about delays as well. So maybe a thing that we can do as people to get our rights back is to try and delay any more abortion banning laws to pass. So maybe we can't really prevent it yet, or but we can try and delay it and give arguments, because we won't, like, we're not going to put this to rest. This is a fight that is worth fighting for, and we're not going to be putting it to rest. So I think that is going to be a way to get our rights back, to not let it rest, to keep fighting, as well as to try and delay any potential other um, abortion banning laws to be passed, which is easier said than done, I guess. But I think the most important thing is that we don't stop fighting, and that we don't stop fighting for what we believe in. So I'm gonna put my cards back, and then I'm gonna write down the next timestamp, which we're already over an hour right now, which is great. So the next question comes from chat, from Tarot Girl. Do you see Democrats keeping the House and or Senate after the midterms? So I have to say, I don't know much about American politics, so I'm really gonna need you guys' help to interpret this. So I'll pull the cards and I'll tell you what I think it means, and I would love to hear from you guys in chat how you would implement that into your American politics. Ooh, I'm already dropping cards, which is not great. So, do you see Democrats keeping the House and or the Senate after the midterm? So, I'm guessing there are midterms coming up. I know that there are like some local elections happening. I know in Texas there's going to be Beto versus Greg Abbott, which is an election that I have done a reading on. So it's let's take a look. Are Democrats keeping the House and or Senate after the midterm? So what is going to be the influence of like the Democrats? Ooh, okay. So the cards that I'm getting here, I don't know what the how do I want to say this? Like how many Democrats versus how many Republicans are in Senate, are in the House. But with the temperance card, we see them balancing out a bit. So I don't know if there are definitely more Republicans in House right now. There are going to be more. It's going to be more even. The what is the word? I know the Dutch word, but the I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna Google it because I distribution, like the distribution, the division, the yeah, no, I think the dividing the distribution between the Republicans and the Democrats, I think that's gonna equal out a little bit more. I see that with the Six of Pentacles as well, like give and take. So both Democrats and Republicans are gonna have to give and take a little bit when it comes to power, when it comes to lawmaking. There's gonna be more equal playing ground. So right now, I feel like even though Biden is the president right now from the Democrats, I still feel like there's a lot of power with when it comes to like Republicans still have a lot of power, and I feel like that's going to equal out a little bit when it comes to like Republicans having so much power right now, even though there is a Democrat president. So I think that that power is going to equal out a little bit more. It's interesting because the question, do you see Democrats keeping the House and or Senate after the midterms? And the first two cards that I got were the Page of Cups and the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands to me is about travel, about going abroad, adventure, trying, doing new things. And with the Page of Cups, I think I've already pulled this card like 3 times today in this live stream. But the Page of Cups is to me about an offer, about something that is very alluring, but also childlike energy. So that is really interesting. Is there going to be someone who's new? Maybe on the Democrat side, I think like a Page of Cups would be like more Democrat than a Republican, right? So would there be like someone new in the Democrat side of things who's going to have a very big impact? Either who has an offer someone can't refuse, or something like that is what I'm seeing here. Someone, I think, a younger, maybe a younger person as well, or someone who's just new to Senate, new to the House. Again, I don't really know what that necessarily means. I would definitely love to hear your thoughts on this regarding the American political system. But it's going to be a younger person or someone who's new on the side of the Democrats, who's going to do, like, who's going to have an impact. And with the Knight of Wands, I feel like they're gonna be coming in and sort of crushing it and being pretty quickly with things that they want to achieve. Again, interesting. I keep saying like interesting because I do think that, the readings that I do are interesting. Yeah. So that is what I see on that. Definitely let me know if there's another question on that you have. I would love to hear that. And if not, then we're gonna soon be going into viewer readings. So I'm just gonna write down my timestamps. So if there's anything else on this topic that you would like to know, let me know. If not, then let me know a question for like personal reading. I can pull a few cards for you for a personal reading. Could possibly be a new speaker of the house. Interesting. It is interesting. So again, I don't really know what that means. I know my like the Dutch political system, so I know who like our sort of speaker of the house would be. Yeah, absolutely no problem. I love getting requests for readings. That makes me super happy that you trust me to do a reading on something like that. So that is just something that I want to thank you for for requesting it. So if anybody would like to get a reading, like a personal reading, then let me know in chat. I'm gonna write down the timestamp so we get into fewer readings right now. So let me know if you have. I can do a reading on love, on friendship, on career, or just a little bit of energy for the week ahead. I have already recorded my podcast, which is gonna go up. The video version is gonna go up tomorrow within my membership, and the audio version will be going up on Monday if you prefer to have the audio version. So yeah, let me know if you have a question, so I can do a viewer reading, like just fewer readings live right now, and I can pull a couple of cards for you guys. If not, then I will just be going because I still have some videos to film and videos to edit. I'm gonna take my dog on his afternoon walk. I'm pretty sure like my dog is like in his crate right here. So um yes, absolutely. I will do a reading for you on love. I don't know if you are single. I don't know if you are in a relationship. So, let me know if it's. Do you want to know like love wise, like if you're gonna meet someone, or if you are currently seeing someone and you want to know like, are we gonna hit it off, or just a general if you are single, just sort of want to know what's gonna happen. So yes, single and ready to mingle, I guess. So let's take a look for what Tarot Girl needs to know about her love life as a single Tarot Girl. Okay, I am starting off with Two of Pentacles in reverse. So the Two of Pentacles to me is a card of prioritizing, balancing. Will someone be coming in your life? Well, that's interesting with the next card that I pulled for you. But the first one here is the Two of Pentacles. In reverse can indicate that a need or an opportunity for you to sort of prioritize things in your life differently. I don't know. This is usually a card that comes up when you have a lot of things going on in your life. And maybe right now you haven't really been able to make love, make potential relationships, make dating a priority because there were other things going on in your life that were really important for you. Um, because that is what we see with the Two of Pentacles. It's about a balance, about being able to prioritize certain things in your life, but also a need potentially to simplify things more in your life if you do have a lot of things going on. It's interesting that you ask, will someone be coming into my life? Because the card that I pulled next is the Knight of Wands, which is literally someone on a motorcycle coming into your life. Doesn't have to mean someone on like the person coming into your life is a motorcycle or has a motorcycle. It could be potentially a fire sign or someone who has fire, like very prominent fire energy into your chart. Someone who's gonna sweep you off your feet. Someone who's gonna keep you on your toes. Gonna keep you very interested, and someone who might like pull out a little bit more of an adventurous side in you, which I don't know. I love fire energy. Okay, I love the Knight of Wands, and this is someone who loves to experiment, loves to go on adventures, try new things. So this is someone who you might meet. And with the Knight of Wands, I feel like it's not going to be like super soon, but relatively soon. Someone is going to be entering your life and who could potentially, like I said, sweep you off your feet and encourage you to try some things that you haven't tried before. So with that always comes like have your priorities in order and protect your boundaries. If this person wants you to do certain things experiment wise that you're not ready for, then you still have to prioritize yourself over trying to impress someone. I think that sort of um, makes sense, and that should be something that is like a given, but that is still something that I felt like I needed to share with you. So yeah, that was interesting. I would love to know if that resonates. Of course, you might not really know yet, or maybe you already know this person, like a fire sign who or like fire energy who brings out like the adventurer in you. That's interesting. Okay, so if there's anybody else who would like a reading right now, let me know. And I can pull some cards for you. So there's always this there's always this delay between when I say something and when people are like putting things in the chat. There's a little bit of a delay there, so I always have to just wait. But I don't want you hearing nothing, so I'm trying to talk my way through waiting for chats and comments to come in. But yeah, um so, oh, I have a deck that I want to share with you. So earlier this week, a lot of videos from a lot of people went live on the new Green Glyphs collection from James R. Eads. And there was a tarot deck, an oracle deck, a Lenormand deck, and a rune deck. And I didn't really like the tarot. Well, it's not that I didn't like it, it's just not something that I need in my life. I really liked the look of the oracle deck. I am not familiar with runes, but I also really like the idea of the Lenormand deck. So I was like, well, if I really only like the Lenormand and the Oracle, I might as well already get the Lenormand that is out, which was on sale on tarot.nl. So I got it for very reasonably priced. And it's a stunning Lenormand deck. It's really, really stunning. It has like the gilded edges and it's stunning. So I'm gonna be learning Lenormand with this as well. Ooh, definitely resonated with the Two of Pentacles. Can't wait to see the Knight. You're welcome. So, yeah, this is just a little sneak peek for you guys who are watching the stream or the replay. This is the Green Glyphs Lenormand by James R. Eads. And the biggest reason that I got this was for the guidebook. I only have one other Lenormand deck, which is the Dreaming Way Lenormand, which is one that I got gifted from a viewer, which I am super grateful for. But the guidebook that comes with it isn't really great at super like explaining how Lenormand works. And this one has like really big keywords here for every card. So I thought that that would help me potentially learn Lenormand better. So that is how I want to be using this deck to really learn Lenormand and also apply it with my with my Dreaming Way Lenormand. So, but the box, look at that. It's so cute and I love it so much. So that's really cool. Yeah, Lenormand is such a more complicated for me, Lenormand is such a more complicated uh, tool system to learn than tarot. Tarot feels so straightforward to me, but also maybe because I've been doing tarot only for like 2 years, but I've really dove deep into it. Like when I get to something, when I learn something, when I get into a new hobby, I really go all in. So Yes, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to end the stream here. I'm gonna update it with the timestamps. And I want to thank all of you so, so much for being here, for watching. I really enjoyed myself, and I really hope you enjoyed yourself too. I hope that this is a good time for other people to to watch my streams as well, because I think 2 p.m. On Saturday, like Amsterdam time, really works well for me. So I think I'm gonna keep it at this time, and I hope that this time works well for other people as well. If not, then you can always catch the replays. They are available instantly. So I want to thank you all so, so, so much for watching, for being here. I really enjoy going live and just chatting, pulling the cards for you guys. So thank you so much for being here. And I hope you will tune in next week. I hope you also have a great day